Well, looky here. If you watched my earlier video where I was doing the maintenance, greasing everything on the chassis, I noticed I pointed out some oil residue on this rear connector on the transmission, Allison Transmission. I said I didn't like that and I was going to do some research. Well, I did some research and it turns out I got some more work ahead of me. I'm not having a problem yet, but it can, in the near future, start causing my transmission to throw codes and shift funny, or go into, heaven forbid, go into limp mode and not go anywhere. So when I was around here, when I was greasing it earlier today, I noticed some oil residue on this connector. Let me go over here. See how shiny it is? I knew that wasn't right, and there's no oil above it. Everything's perfectly dry about this transmission. So I assumed it had to be coming from that connector. First of all, I have to figure out how to get the connector off. So let me show you that. So you can easily test yours. Now to get this connector loose, of course this is right on the very back of the Allison. This is the Allison 2100 MH transmission and a 2005 Winnebago Workhorse W24 chassis. So that's what we're working on. And to remove this connector, took me a few minutes to figure it out because it's oily and greasy, but you got to squeeze it at 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock position. You do that and it pulls right off. Now here's what you don't want to see. When you pull this off, you don't want to see oil in there. See how the oil's puddling in there on all those terminals? So that's what I got, and that can give you trouble. So, but another thing is, there's, I don't know, 5 or 6 different harnesses for these things, and it can be sometimes difficult to get the correct one. So I guess the absolute best way to get the correct one is go ahead, drop the pan, and look at the connectors, the terminals, and how many solenoids we got. So I've always wanted to get my hands inside this transmission, so I guess now's my chance. I'll get to drop this pan and check all that out. And guess what? You get to come along for the ride. So I'll gather up some tools and we'll get into this project. Okay, like I just mentioned, we got different wiring harnesses for the Allison. Not 100% sure which one. So I'm going to drop the pan and going to find out, because I do know I got the gray connector. But it's probably going to be one of these 3. So once you get inside, you have several different colors and different connectors. So we need to determine exactly which one we got. And I can scroll through here the PDF. You see there's quite a few different ones they've made over the years. So let's go drop a pan and see what we can see. Okay, let's get this little project started. You're going to need 2 sockets. You're going to need a 15 millimeter to take the drain plug loose. You'll need a 13 millimeter to take the bolts loose all the way around the pan. And let's see how big a mess we can make. They should drain out about 2.5 gallons. Let me see how I can do this. This is always a messy part because this holds a lot of transmission fluid. Are you ready? Here we go. All right. So we'll sit and let that drain for a while, and then we'll work on getting those bolts loose around that pan. All right, you see I got all the oil drained out of it. Well, the bulk of it anyway. I got my little, I said 13 millimeter. Just go around, take all these screws out. Take a couple minutes. I'll get all these out, drop the pan, and we'll try to figure out what harness we got so we know what to order. That impact sure came in handy. It made quick work getting all those bolts out. Isn't that pretty? A work of art. Those Allison transmissions are really tough birds. They hold up really well. So now I can see exactly what harness I have, what we need to replace. We'll let this sit and drip a little while, and see how we do go about getting this thing all apart. Alright, let's see if we get a light on here. Alright, they're recording. May not be factory approved, but here's what I'm trying to do. I got 4 little plastic ears. I got these little dental tools that I got from Harbor Freight. I got them wedged in there so the plastic ears are pushed in. Come on, light up the subject. There you go. Now I'm going to try to pop it out. I'm trying to take just the socket here. See what I'm trying to do? Or not a socket, ratchet. And line it up and just push it through. Anyway. Oh, perfect. Sweet. Alright, so all I did, I just got this in place, took it upon my hand, give it a good hit, and it pushed it right through. Sorry about the camera angles, it's kind of difficult under here. It was giving me fits trying to push in those little four ears at the same dang time. Maybe they make a special tool for it, but anyway, that's my special tool. So anyway, I've got it starting to push through, so let's see if we can't get it the rest of the way. Well, it's difficult filming under a dang vehicle, isn't it? Lights, lights, give me some lights. Alright, there it is. So I've got it pushed mostly through. That's what it looks like from the bottom. Okay, from underneath. Okay, so yeah, you see it starting to come through. Right, let me get my... So you see what I'm doing? I'm going to take this right here. Make sure we're in view. Alright, we got here. Ta-da! Oh, that was easy. Oh, we got that. Alright. Now I gotta figure out how to get these connectors loose. This little lever here goes up, down, out. It does something. I don't know for sure what, but let me think about that and see what it does. Oh, this is a real pain video. I'm upside down, isn't it? Okay, well it took me just a second, but I figured it out. Just get over the little screwdriver and you give it a twist. There you go, like that. That's how you unlock the goofy thing. There. Still on there good. There she goes. Alright, pull the blue pin, lift up on that tab, and it unplugs. That's how we do that. Pull that blue pin, lift up on that, get that one unplugged. There's a little gray one, another gray. We got a blue one. Get off there. Okay. And we got that. We got one more connector kind of hid up in here. There she is. Right. That one. Snug, isn't it? We got a way to wiggle it out. I'm going to have two fingers to wiggle that out, it looks like. Now what was that? That was kind of funny. I heard something fall, so what the heck was that? It went into the drain pan. What it is, you got two little clips that clip on these, and then they clip up here. I guess this is the valve body. I guess it also holds the solenoid in place. So those just pull out real easy. But those two clips are used to, I guess, hold the solenoids and also hold this little harness in place. So I still haven't got this out. I get one to be, I guess once I unplug these other wires, I'll have enough slack. I can bring the harness through around this way. So got that little connector to get off. Come on, baby. All right. I unplugged that one. Just need to get that loose over there. Let me get a screwdriver. Okay, I'm trying to film this as I go along. So I just unclip this plastic clip right here. Get that long harness out of the way. Now that should give us some wiggle room, so you can see what I'm doing. Oh, we're close. Huh. I don't know if I'm going to pull a solenoid or what out of this thing. Good gravy. I'm getting dirty. I'm getting dirty. Okay. There it is. Alright. Yay, we got it out. Now I know what harness to order. And you want to be very clean about this. I want to make sure I didn't leave in. I'll probably use maybe some brake cleaner spray in here. Because I did, before I removed this, I took me some brake cleaner here and sprayed it down pretty good because there's a lot of crud on this outside of this housing. Alright, I got oil on me, oil on my camera, there's oil everywhere. So let me clean up a little bit. Alright, let's see. Still recording? Yep, okay. Alright, so now I got this apart, I'm checking this out. There's a little bitty tab here you can lift up on. And you can pull this out. Come on. Pull it out. There you go. So this has like a silicone seal in it. So I don't know if I need a harness or not, unless they've improved these some way. Because really, there's no seal on the back side of the harness. Unless, well, unless this O-ring could be failing too. Yeah, that's probably pretty old. Guess there's really no way to change it unless you pull the harness out. Because that would also let oil pass. But it could just be this thing here. It's got all those little, that's where all the pins slide through. So let me try to do some calling. See if it's, you know, do I go the cheap route, just replace this part, replace the whole harness? Has it been upgraded? Of course, this O-ring here could be a factor. And it's 18 years old. All right, let me do some studying, but it looks like this is the one I need. This part number 121446A. That's the one. So we have a total of eight connectors, it says. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then 8. All right, we're getting closer. I got to decide what I want to do. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that harness. I think I just got this O-ring. Let me make a call. So it's not that it's due for it, because you know you're supposed to change these external filters every 24 months. I think I just did this last year, but seeing I've got it open, got it exposed, I'm going to put a new filter on it. But I've learned from experience to have you a little something to catch. Not a whole lot of oil comes out, but at least we'll put this under here, I'll unscrew it, and catch what little oil drains from it, and put the new filter on with it. As soon as it comes in, hopefully it'll show up today. Okay, so here's another good tip. You see that magnet? Try to reach up there and get it, because it's stuck up there on that little, on the housing. Sometimes the magnet will stick to the oil filter. You take the filter off, you throw it away along with your magnet. So be sure you get your magnet and put it on the new filter. But a lot of the magnets get sold because they get thrown away. So don't lose your magnet. So looks pretty good. Don't see no metal or anything on it, so that's a good sign. Well, something else I always like to do when I get into a transmission, I like to open up the old filter and look inside of it just to see what I can see. And hopefully I see nothing. So I've got it in the vise here, and I just kind of, I'll bend it. It was standing up straight. And I bend it over. So, look there. It came up pretty good. Wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. Look at that. Just like Christmas. All right. Got that little part that went right over here. Let's see what we can see. Let me see which way. Hang on, let me get my orient. Okay, yep. So I guess it's. I figure where the suction must be pulling from the bottom. Okay, all right. So if any metal should be on this side over here. Oh, it's kind of like a sock type of thing. Check it out. All right, that interesting how that works. All right. Ah, there's the debris. Ooh, look at there. I do see some sparkly stuff. Gosh, that is filthy. When you got dirt and not put. Oh, here we go. Now it's coming apart. Interesting. So that's 70,000 miles. There's there's a little something I don't like. How about that? Alrighty then. Well, I'm going to take this to my transmission guy, let him look at this, see what he thinks, get his opinion on it. That's more debris than I wanted to see. But, alright, let's go talk to him, see what he says. Well, it's the next morning, and yesterday I went and talked to my transmission guy. I showed him this filter, and he's been doing transmission work for 40 years. He said for 70,000 miles, he said this looks great. He didn't see a problem with it. I showed him the pan. You see that, even after 70,000 miles, we just got that black. There's don't feel no metalness, just kind of that fuzz. And I'm assuming that's clutch material, clutch debris that gets down there in the bottom, would be my assumption. But you can see we do have some sparkly stuff in here going on. Let me see here, see if a magnet. Yeah, that magnet's picking that up. See, we got some steel in there, but he didn't seem to be concerned about it. He told me just for 70,000 miles, this looks fine. He told me just put new filters in it, clean it all up, put it back together, and run it for another 70,000 miles. But if there's any true Allison technicians out there, you've been to Allison school, you've been doing this for years, if you could reach out to me, I sure like to pick your brain, because I like to. It's hard to find out, separating fact from fiction. I read and research stuff online, but how everybody's got an opinion. And it's hard sometimes to get down to the truth about things. But I'm going to clean this all up, and you see I got a box of new parts, new harness and filters. So let's get to cleaning. Let's put this RV back together. Oh, one last thing I wanted to point out. See, I had this filter apart. I thought it was kind of interesting how it works, because like when you take yours apart initially, and you look up into the bottom of your filter, you're going to see that, and you'll think, oh, that looks clean. Oh, it looks beautiful. I don't need to change that filter. But if you open it up, kind of like a sock, you open it up, then you see all your crud actually gets sucked down here to the bottom. But I also found interesting was the little bypass valve I got here. Now that sits there, and you got the spring that sits on top of it. So if this filter ever got completely clogged, then the suction will get high enough, it'll lift this off the seat and allow it to still flow oil. Won't be filtered, but it'll still allow oil to flow through the system. I don't know how much. I'd like to know how many gallons per minute. That's a big hole. I wonder how many gallons per minute it rolls through that filter. Interesting stuff. Well, you may have an Allison transmission, and if it's giving you some weird codes, weird shifting, or limp home mode, one thing to check is on the passenger side of the transmission on the rear corner, you'll see a connector, and you have a bunch of wires going to it. Sometimes the connector can fail, and oil will be inside of there. If you get oil in there, it's kind of going to mess up the communication sometimes with the computer. And there's two ways you can go about fixing this. You can replace just this piece of plastic here. It's got the little rubber membrane in it, or you can replace the whole harness. I've talked to two technicians. They always replace the whole harness. I'm assuming that's a better long-term fix. But maybe you're on a budget and you want to just try replacing this piece only. I thought I'd make a quick video to show you how to remove it. So let me get get your little pick tool like this. I'm trying to do this with one hand. You want to open up this little plastic piece. See right there? That's all you got to do. Get that opened up. Because when it's in the transmission, it's difficult to do. That's why I'm doing it here on the vise once I got it out. Then just get your pair of pliers and needle nose and pull it right out. So you can buy just this piece. But like I said, I've talked to two different techs. They don't do that. They replace the whole harness. And actually, you can kind of see here, if I get it in the light, you can see how some holes are bigger than others. So I don't know if the pins get in there and wiggle, wobble around. I also should point out, I forgot to part this part out. When you first get to your switch, there's a cap here with more wires. To release that cap, you pinch at the 9 and 3 o'clock position. You pinch it and it comes off. Then you'll be able to see it here. Now you can see what I've done. I've got the whole new harness for it. and I think you can, they're around 100 to 150 bucks. You can get aftermarket or OEM, but you can see how that connector looks. Looks like a whole lot better sealing job than what the original had. So hopefully that may help you out, give you a little idea of how to get that connector loose. And good luck with your repair. Thanks for watching. Oh, I forgot something. Hang on. Where'd my tool go? Here we go. So if you opt to also, maybe if you opt to replace this, there's a couple of different ways you can go about getting this out. One guy I seen, he used a 33mm socket, because you got these 4 ears you're going to have to depress at the same time to push it through the housing of the transmission. But I found this piece of 1-inch PVC Schedule 40 pipe. It fits, looks just about right. So you can push on it here. The camera in the right spot. As you push on it, it'll push in on all 4 ears at the same time. So that might be a good tool for you to use to push that out. The way I did mine, I had me some little bitty little picks like a dentist would use. I had 4 of them, and I depressed on each one and then just pushed it out that way. A couple different ways you can do it, but that'll give you an idea. But I think the long-term results, you want to change out the whole thing, and that's what I'm about to do, and I'll link a video to it also on how to do that. Okay, so one thing we want to remember is be sure to get all the oil out of this connector. And so I've got me some electronic cleaner here. We'll spray up in there, because I use brake cleaner on other things, but when you're dealing with these plastic parts, that kind of stuff, I'm afraid that brake cleaner or starting fluid, anything like that could be a little bit too strong for those plastic parts. So we'll spray that out, let it dry, so we have a nice clean connection before we put it together. Okay, to show you a close-up view so you know how to remove this connector, you give it a pinch, 3 and 9 o'clock position. See how it does? It goes oval. So when it goes oval, this little top pin here raises up and releases from the connector right here. We'll figure, there you go. Releases right there. So that'll give you an idea of what you need to do to get this off. When it's on there, it's not really evident. This is what you got to do. Just give it a squeeze and a pull, and you'll have it off. Well, I'm about to put the harness back in, the new one. Just I wanted to point out, you want to make sure this area is really clean, because when you pulled your old harness out, you could have dragged some dirt in with it. So make sure that area is really clean. Shoot your little brake cleaner or something in there, rinse it out good if you have to. Mine looks good and clean. I'm going to put a little dab of transmission oil in here. Also, a dab of oil right here on that O-ring to help get that to slide in nice and smooth, hopefully. So let's try that. Alright, I don't know how it's going to work with one hand. I'm going to try. But I put a little dab of Vaseline around the O-ring, and I put on this in the aluminum channel here where it goes in. I put some Vaseline in there too. It's got like a little bit of a ramp. So let's see how this is going to go. Come on, camera. Wiggle, wiggle, get in there. I know you can do it. There you go. All right. Woohoo! So we got that. Got it mostly in there. Now we're just going to make a turn. Yeah, can we turn it? Yeah, we got it turned. See? All there is to it. You see it coming through the other side. All right, so now let me get 2 hands on it, but just shows you if I can do it with one hand. Surely you can do it with 2. Yeah, that worked out really good. So it just pulled through. Now you can see it's locked. You can see the little tabs. See those tabs there? They've passed through. Now she's in place. Got that done. Okay. Now that I've got this apart, I was doing some experimenting. I seen how it was made. I found something else that may make it even easier to remove this connector. This is 1-inch PVC pipe. Wait, hang on. Coupler, that end right here. This is 1-inch PVC coupler. That's all it is. Something simple. And you can take that, and it will slide right over top of it. And you give it a push. That's all you gotta do. And then you push it right on in. How easy is that? No special tools required. So if you just get your 1-inch PVC Schedule 40 coupler, that'll push it right out real easy for you. And then can show you how easy it is to lock it back in. There you go. That'll help somebody out. Alright, so now we just gotta do is get this connected back to where you found it. Remember those two clips? Pull those out. These right here. And they clip right onto these two pieces. So you just gotta get this in position. Put those two clips in. So let me do that because that's gonna take two hands, of course. Alright, so easy peasy, let's finish putting this together. So I've already connected that connector up, and these little solenoid clips, I've got one in place right there. I got to put another one in right here. Push up, lock in place. Alright, so that's got the wire harness locked in. That looks good. Alright, need to come over here and connect this up. Come on. Alright, and I got this little piece here to clip on. Got that. Alright, now we just got to get these little wires connected up. Let me go ahead and let me get two hands on this so I can twist these wires the way I want them. Make sure nothing's in a bind. Okay, so I got the wires turned the way I want them. So we just lock them in place. Got that one locked, that one locked. And remember, we've got those little blue clips here that go in that keep them from coming out. Get that in position. Little blue lock. Got that one in. There's another one somewhere. Here it is. All right. So all of our connectors are connected. Don't forget this one hidden up in here. That one right there. That might make for a bad day. You don't connect that solenoid up. So alrighty. Well, I guess all that's pretty much finished. Got that all looking good. I did have to cut a piece of plastic off here. I had an extra piece of plastic sticking out, and it was kind of getting in the way, not letting it go up flush. The old harness didn't have that, so I just clipped it off with a pair of side cutters, so it would lay nice and flat. All right, on to the next step. You see, my Allison transmission pan turned out really nice. Just took me a little gasoline to it and wiped it out and dried it with the air hose good. So it's all nice and clean, no more metal, no grit. It's a good looking pan. Well, I was doing some research before I got into this project. One thing I came across is sort of a warning about aftermarket oil filters. And in fact, I'd rather have an OEM filter because that's what I took off. That's an Allison there. But what they sent me is an aftermarket. It does look like it's of good quality, good and heavy. But in this bulletin, that warns you to make sure when you get a filter that the holes are to the outside, not to the inside, where they could restrict oil flow. But there's the original. You can kind of see half holes are exposed, and this aftermarket kind of is the same. It's the same way. So half the holes are still exposed. So evidently it's, even though it's an aftermarket oil filter and not a genuine Allison oil filter, it should be fine. But if you have your druthers, get an OEM filter. What else did I find? Found here some solenoid identification. I thought that was kind of interesting to know what solenoid does what it shifts, and how it applies the clutch packs and gives us our different speeds. And these are called trim solenoids, and evidently they cycle back and forth relatively quickly in order to maintain pressure. Thought that was pretty cool. And some identification stuff. These speed sensors, I found out that these can also leak, just like how the wine harness failed. Sometimes these can fail in a way that oil will come through the switch and get into the connector and cause issues. So while I'm in here, I'm going to pull those connectors loose and check to make sure there's no oil residue while I'm digging around. Something you can do also. One thing I was surprised to see is the fact the oil level, when that thing's sitting, the oil level is above the pan. And I'm assuming that is correct, unless I had it over full. I need to try to confirm that. I got this dipstick. It says here main split case. That's where that's where the line is. But it says when it's hot, you know, it's going to be way above it. And it's showing you, giving some dimensions here about the dipstick, I guess, to make sure if you want to confirm your dipstick is measured right and doing its job. I thought that was kind of an interesting little article. And because these transmissions, they can easily be overfilled when you're dealing with these big long dipstick tubes, and it can be kind of aggravating. Make sure you're getting it just right. And this just kind of shows what solenoid is engaged to give you different speeds. So if a person needs to troubleshoot something, you've lost a particular speed, then you can go in there and kind of know what solenoid to test, go after. That's just some more. There shows that harness that we just got working on, that we're replacing. Just some notes about my torque settings I need to put on there. So okay, let's crawl over there and get back to work. Okay, so some more tips while I'm under here. Okay, so our shifting solenoids are these. We got 1, 2, 3, and then 4 up here. That's our shifting solenoids. These other ones are called, these are called trim solenoids. I believe their job is to maintain certain pressures, to add and reduce pressure during shifting. Now, I'm not a transmission guy, I'm just reading this stuff, trying to figure it out. This solenoid up here on the very front, that was added. Where'd my piece of paper go on it? Okay, here it is. In 2004, the G solenoid was added to reduce pressure at a standstill to prevent pump noise. So I guess in 2003 and earlier, there was a lot of pump noise at idle. So they added that solenoid to reduce that noise. So that's what that one does. All right, what else have I got in here to tell you? Oh yeah, this looks pretty important. It says here, you know, because sometimes you can get shift inhibited, light will come on. And this was an interesting bulletin I found for 2000 through 2009 models. If you get a restricted solenoid, feed filter will cause no movement condition without setting any codes. So that would leave you scratching your head. You may get a flashing message on the dash reading shift inhibited range signal that will read correctly. So that it will read correctly on a scan gauge. So, but what's happening is, so that could be a head scratcher if you hook up a scan gauge and everything seems normal, but you still can't drive anywhere. You're stuck. It talks about this little filter. It's a solenoid feed filter that could be clogged, and its location looks like it'd be kind of a doozy to get to. It's because here's a main valve body. I'll call it like the lower valve body. Then you got another section up above. You can see where my finger's pointing up there, and there's the solenoid. Well, that filter looks to be in this very, very corner, but not on this section of the valve body, on the upper section. So that'd be a lot of bolts to remove, but if that was clogged, that'd be a simple fix, you know, just to take it, you know, like if that's the case, you know, you gotta wonder about this kind of stuff. How many times do transmissions get rebuilt and you get hit with a huge bill when it's just something minor like that. I don't know. They are kind of complicated, but if you understand them, it can just be the simplest little thing can screw you up. So quite interesting, amazing things, these transmissions, and how well they normally perform. You know, it's got 70,000 miles on it and haven't had to do a thing to it, just change filters. But I happened to see that oil leak and I wanted to be proactive instead of reactive. That's always a better thing to do. Okay, so the wiring harness is installed, so I guess it's time to put in our new filter and put the pan back on. But I wanted to show you something. I believe this happens quite a bit, and hopefully people catch it. As you can see that up there, that is my old seal to the old filter. It stayed up inside of the housing. I want to be careful. I don't want to scratch that housing. It's in there pretty good. Let me get two hands on that. I want to be careful and get that out in a way that doesn't cause any harm to that soft aluminum. Well, you see I got it out, but it took a little, well, I dropped it now, come here. It took a little persuasion. It was in there really tight, so got that done. Well, let's see how this filter goes in. You can see up a little transmission fluid on the seal itself. There she goes. Oh, right. That was easy enough. Just push it up in there. All right, so I'm just going to go in here and wipe this surface down one more time. Make sure everything's really clean. If there's no debris, we'll get the pan on there and get a filter on up here and put about 2.5 to 3 gallons of transmission fluid back in it, and we'll be starting this thing pretty soon. Okay, remember, transmissions, clean, clean, clean. We want everything clean. So the bolts were all greasy and dirty and had crud and stuff in the threads. So I put a little gasoline in this little container, put the lid on it, give it a good shaking. I'll blast some air on it, get them good and dry. I'll have nice, clean bolts putting it back together. See what I mean? Nice and clean, no grit. All right. Got my torque wrench. I'm ready to go. Okay, so before I put the pan on, I'm going to go ahead and spin on the oil filter. And remember, do not lose your magnet. Don't throw it away either, like a lot of people do. And I've pre-filled the oil filter too. Magnet's in place. Let's just put her on there real quick. There we go. And just hand tight, they say. All right, good and snug. Okay, now we're ready for more pan, because that's going to take 2 hands to get that up there. All right, now you see I got every bolt in, but the pan is left loose. So I'm going to go around and snug each one up in a kind of a staggered pattern, and then I'll put my final torque on it. I just love my clicky torque wrench. Alright, so I went around a couple times. We're at 20 foot-pounds, so that's good. Now last thing I want to do, when I'm under here, I want to put a new gasket on the drain plug. So I'm going to pop that off. Alright, see, here's the old drain plug gasket. It's kind of chewed up. It kind of stuck to the pan when it came off. Kind of tore up the rubber a little bit. So there's my drain plug, brand new gasket. And this will torque up to 25 foot-pounds. So we'll get that put on. Okay, remember how I said to check those connectors? If I can get up here and see it. Where's the connector at? Can't see. Connector, where are you? Alright. Okay, we talked about looking at that connector. Right there it is. Everything's nice and dry. This is the one on the very back. I don't know if I can get to the other two or not. This one was a pain. So that's a good sign, but I'm going to try to get to the other two just to be thorough. Okay, so there wasn't nothing easy about it. I did unplug both of these connectors, and they was both dry. No oil residue on either one of them. No need to check this one because I don't believe there's any oil on the back side. That's the torque converter up here. So all right, now it's time to add some oil. I drained out all the oil and caught it. Then I poured it back through this measuring jug here. So each full jug was 1 gallon. So I've got just a tick over 3 gallons I pulled out of it. So I'm gonna put 3 gallons back, and then I'll check on the dipstick. Yeah, because I know these transmissions, sometimes it's easy to overfill them, and I want to make sure not do that. So let's get to putting oil in this thing. Well, it's oil fill time. You see what I've done here. Got my nice big funnel. Got it tied up here to keep it in place. Let's talk about oil. See this oil I'm using? Allison approved. Real close if I can see it there. TES 295. This being a 2004 chassis, I think it came out of the factory with just standard Dextron transmission oil. And then the very next year they started putting in synthetic. This is a Pacific Allison oil that they formulated. And I did what they call a double drain and fill because I want to get rid of all the standard transmission oil and get in the synthetic. So you drain out your standard oil, you put in the synthetic, you run it a while, drain that out, and then fill it up again, then you're good to go. And if I remember right, I think they say it's like 150,000 miles. Don't quote me on that, but it's way up there. I'll have to look back in my notes and see. But it's really good oil, but it's that burn expensive. Right now, this is like $49 a gallon, so it hurts for sure. But it lasts a really good long time. So let's get to pouring this in there. Just to show you how I'm getting this in here, it works pretty efficient this way. There it goes. Chug-a-lug, chug-a-lug. Yeah, this stuff is expensive. You don't want to waste none of it, that's for sure. Liquid gold, liquid gold. So I got all the oil in the transmission and went up into the RV, just getting ready to turn on the key, and it dawned on me, I didn't plug this connector up. So I imagine we should probably do that if we're going to expect this to work. See, now I got it nice and clean and dry. Okay, let's try it again. I think I got it lined up. There we go. Nice, good click. All right, she's in place. Now let's go start it. Okay, let's see if we got gears now. You see I still got my light on. Let's run it through all the gears. Here's reverse. Okay. Got neutral. Yep, she's moving forward, and we can start the first gear. Yep, that works. All right. You hear this brakes squeaking a little bit. Okay. We have all of our gears are working. Back in park. But we see we gotta get that light out. This is something no one knows about this yet. This is brand new. Let me show you something here. Get back to this is something I'm experimenting with. It's come out. You know, I've always talked about these ScanGauge II that I've had here for years, and I preach everybody should have one before you. If you've got an 8.1 before you leave home, make sure you got a ScanGauge II operating so we can watch our fuel trims, keep our engine from running lean. Well, this is brand new from the same company, and it's called a ScanGauge III. And what's cool about it is now we have 9 different bits of data that we can look at. So I'm just playing with it. Like there's fuel trims. I've been playing with there's more coolant temperature, transmission temperature, or closed loop, engine oil. All this, it's just going to be an awesome tool. And I'm going to show you what else we can do with it. So let's go here to, in fact, because we got this transmission light on, let's see if we can't get rid of that code. All right, we're scanning a P2810. I need to look that up, see what that means. But anyway, let's hit clear and see if it goes away. Clear all codes, say yes. Let's pull back. Can we get everything in here at the same time? Yes. And it went out. Woohoo! Isn't that cool? See if we got anything pending. No pending codes. That's good. Alrighty. Anyway, that'll be a separate video coming out soon. I'll tell you about all this new awesome gauge. But so far, I think our transmission is fixed. You see I've done an oil check here, if it'll focus. Anyway, so there's the hot crosshatch, and here's cold. We're kind of in between. Transmission temperature right now is just a little over 100 degrees, so it's not really hot anyway. So I'll probably have to get it on the road to get it warmed up really good to get an accurate reading. But I'm pretty close. I'm pretty happy with that, and that's putting in exactly 3 gallons. Well, after a project like this, you always want to check for leaks. So everything's good and warmed up. Everything's good and dry. So I'm happy with that. So let's go inside and talk part numbers and pricing, what this cost me. Alright, we're in the house. I'm going to tell you where I got these parts. I paid a little bit more money for them, but I was in a hurry. They had everything in stock, and I got them the next day. A company called Transtar, and because they got a website. The number I dialed, his name is Steve, that's his direct number. I called him and told him what I had, and of course when you do this, there's multiple connectors available. So before I get to that, anyway, here's the parts I got. I paid a little bit more for them, but I got them quick. Total cost for this project was out of my pocket was $370. That was the parts and the oil. So of course my labor was free. So got that part done, but I could save some money. Let me show you here. So the same components I could have got on Amazon now that I got them and had time to do a little research, but I still probably wouldn't have got them next day like I did by ordering them through Transtar. But here you can see there's because our Workhorse has the deep pan, it's the white filter. So I got that's 20 bucks. And then that's an OEM Allison filter for 16. And there's probably aftermarkets that are cheaper. I'd recommend the OEM. And then there's the wire harness, and it was like 89 bucks. So let me show you this here. So if you get into this project, there's so many different Allison transmissions, but like this one was a 2004/2005 in between the one I just did. But here are some of those. This is the one I use, the 121446A. Let me point out something else. If you go Googling the part numbers, I found it 2 different ways. Here's the company here, Rostra. They're the ones who actually make these harnesses, and other people sell them. But you can Google the part number with a 350-0086, or remove the dash and bring it all together. That's how I found it on Amazon finally, by removing that dash. But anyway, back to the harnesses. So this is the one I use, but you can see here how you identify it. In particular, had that big long tail on it. Gray case, 8 connectors. And then like this other one here, gray case, 7 connectors. A little bit different. You got beige cases. Here's another gray case, 9 connectors. So you can kind of do a screenshot. I'll try to link to this PDF file. It can be kind of hard to locate. So there's another gray case, 9 connectors. You can so you just about have to pull the pan off, I think, to make sure you're going to get the correct harness. So, because that would really spoil your day. Order a harness and start to do this job and not have the right one. So, but I'll try to link to that in these parts also. I want to point out to you, like, here we go, this brief little video here I found. Check out this video I found. You see this guy, the same thing, pulled the connector off, and you can see oil is just dripping out of it. And you can pull that inner piece out, and you can buy just that little seal. But I talked to 2 different techs. They recommend against that because they said it's not a long-term solution, that it may also leak. But even this website here, this Merchant Automotive, I went to the website and they're not even available. So maybe it's been discontinued. I also found it on eBay, but the same thing, it wasn't available for purchase, this little part here. So if you're going to do it, I'd say, do it right. Just put the harness in, because I'm glad I did, because by doing so, I was able to, catch all that debris and stuff I found on my filter. And so if you got a Workhorse chassis with an Allison transmission and you're sitting 75, 100,000 miles, it might be wise to go ahead and drop the pan and put in a new filter, a new internal filter. Even though Allison, I think they say you shouldn't have to do that unless you do a rebuild, but But I did, you know, I babied this RV. You know, we've had it for over 10 years now, and tried to take good care of it, and still had quite a bit of debris in there, more than I wanted to see. So anyway, I guess put that on your to-do list. Call on the RV, pop that cap off, see if it's good and dry. If not, you might want to plan a day and do this little project. Now you got a video to watch, and it'll guide you right through it. There's no problem at all. Anyways, so thanks for watching. Y'all have a blessed day. See you, bye.